Aloha everyone, what is going on my dudes? Welcome to another RuneScape news coverage video. For this video, we're going to talk about the fourth and final front in the Elder God Wars dungeon, the TzekHaar Front. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the video. Let's go.
Cats is the illest. What you talking about, Willis?
Alright guys, this is all the latest information coming from the live stream today. Jagex revealed a bunch of information regarding the upcoming front, which is actually coming out next Monday. This is Full's front, the TzekHaar Front. The TzekHaar are basically the TzekHaar reforged in the Elder Kiln into warriors, and they serve as the army for Full's front. Full's champion, however, is TzKal-Zuk. If you're familiar with Old School's Inferno, this is the very same person. And while they are technically the same, this is RuneScape 3's interpretation of it, so the fight itself is going to be very different from what you've seen if you are familiar with Old School's version. You're not going to be walking behind a moving wall or anything like that. The fight is entirely unique in this encounter. So to talk about the fight, this is a solo-only piece of content. It is wave-based like the fight kilns and the fight cave. However, it is not a safe death, but you can tele out unlike the other two. There are a total of 18 waves, 17 waves of minions, and the final wave being Zuk himself. They did mention that if you're familiar with the kiln, there are no dill NPCs, the ones that require pickaxes to kill. However, there are some NPCs that may be considered equally annoying, so we'll have to see. They wanted this encounter to be something that you want to keep doing over and over again, unlike the caves and the kiln where you just kind of go and get your caves and then don't really have much reason to return. So in order to achieve that, they have a similar loot system to the elite dungeons, whereas every NPC you fight throughout the encounter will add to like a loot chest that you can collect from later. And if you happen to die at any point, you won't lose out on that loot. You can collect it as is. There are no requirements to do this, and the obsidian armor will work on the minions, however does not work on Zuk himself. In this encounter, you are going to see Jads returning as well as Hurricanes, and any Hurricane killed here will count for your Hurricane kill count, both in terms of, your standard kill count and things like Reaper, Final Boss, as well as getting you closer to thresholds for the pet. And speaking of, you can get the Shrimpy pet by killing any Hurricanes in this encounter. Now looking at some of the differences between this and previously the fight caves and fight kiln, obviously the TzekHaar are going to be far more powerful than the TzekHaar or even the Tsar, and they said that most, if not all of the minions, not only have their standard auto attacks, but they also have unique special attacks. So ultimately it will be harder than the caves and the kiln, which I'm sure no one's surprised about, but it does remain true to the format. There are a few extra challenges as well, unique to this encounter, that Zuk will try to trouble the player with throughout. They didn't go into detail as to what that was or show off anything regarding that, so that's something we're going to have to encounter on release. Another unique thing with this fight is that there are checkpoints, meaning that if you happen to die at any point or tele out, you just have to continue from your closest checkpoint. You do not have to start from the very beginning. However, there are a couple of rewards that can only be achieved if you do not use any of the checkpoints. And if you do choose to use the checkpoints, you will not get a kill time. There is a normal and hard mode. However, you cannot do hard mode until you have completed normal mode flawlessly, which means no using any checkpoints and fully completing all of Zuk's challenges. This is obviously an even harder version of the encounter with unique loot. Enemies will have increased HP, there is only one checkpoint, which is right before fighting Zuk, and there is increased loot as well as unique loot. And if you happen to complete hard mode flawlessly, you'll get the ability to combine 3 new capes into a hybrid cape holding all of the stats and effects of the other 3. Now saying that, I obviously hinted at one of the rewards. So let's talk about all the rewards you can expect from the TzekHaar Front. So to quickly remind you, as I said earlier, there is a elite dungeon style chest that will accumulate loot from the minions as you continue with the fight, but there are several uniques added to this that we'll get into. Starting off, there is a new magic two-handed basic ability, Magma Tempest. This is a point and click ability similar to Bladed Dive, and when activated it will create a 5x5 damage dealing area on that location you click. It will last for 9.6 seconds and will hit 8 times for 5 to 25% damage each. Obviously, if whatever your target is happens to walk away from this 5x5 area, they will no longer take damage. Next up, we have the Scripture of Full. This is the final Elder God Wars book. This basically acts as a mini berserk. Whenever it procs, you will do 20% more damage and take 10% more damage for 15 seconds. Next up, we have the Igneous Stone. This is an item that is awarded to you every time you complete the encounter if you do it flawlessly. The Igneous Stone is a new item that can combine with the 3 different capes from the Fight Kiln to upgrade them to the new Igneous Cal capes. These capes have 57 armor, 43 strength, and 2 prayer. They also have a unique effect to various ultimate abilities associated with their style. The melee one will boost the overpower ability, reducing its adrenaline cost to 60%, and it hits twice. The range version empowers Deadshot, reducing it to 60% adrenaline cost, and causing it to deal 42 to 210% of the initial damage, plus 70% ability damage every 1.2 seconds over the next 8.4 seconds. And finally, the magic version will boost the Omni Power ability, reducing the cost to 60% adrenaline and causing it to hit 4 times, which each hit dealing 80 to 180% ability damage. Now, if you're able to get 3 Igneous Stones, upgrade all 3 of your Kiln Capes, and you have completed a flawless run on hard mode, you get the ability to combine all 3 capes into one. This basically just combines them. It doesn't add anything different. It has the same stats as the other individual ones, and it has the passive effect of all 3 combined, but it's a hybrid cape, so you can just camp this cape. Next up, we have a new tier 95 two-handed melee weapon. You'll be able to obtain this new Obsidian Blade by combining 3 separate drops from the hard mode version of the fight. 3 pieces are dropped in order after achieving one of the first ones. Since it is an obsidian weapon, the Zerk necklace actually works with it. The special attack of this weapon is the Igneous Cleave. It will deal 62 to 190% of your ability damage, plus 6 hits of 30 to 105 ability damage, increasing by 5% for each hit over the next 14.4 seconds. Also, while this bleed is active, if your target is hit by a burn or other bleed, the effect will be extended by an extra hit up to a maximum of 5 additional hits. The last thing I want to touch on is the Pontifex Ring. With the launch of the full front, we're going to get the final upgrade for this ring, giving you the ability to overpower it, which will grant you access to all the buffs it provides without needing to have it equipped. Not only that, if you have the top tier of the ring, you can start earning Quiver Fragments in the new tier 3 Elder Troves. Collecting 100 fragments will allow you to craft Pernix's Quiver. This is a new range accessory that goes in the ammo slot and allows you to hold 2 separate ammo types, and can be made to automatically swap to your ammo to suit the type of weapon you're using. So if you have arrows and bolts in it, whenever you're wearing a bow, it'll swap to arrows. Whenever you have a crossbow, it'll switch to bolts. But you can choose to have 2 of the same type, so 2 different arrows or 2 different bolts, and swapping between the 2 can be done either by right-clicking the quiver or moving it to your action bar and hitting a keybind, or there will be new abilities in your range book that will allow you to alternate between the 2 types. That's not all though. Pernix's Quiver gives you a plus 4% max damage to your range abilities when fighting targets below 25% health. Do note that Pernix's Quiver is tradable, however you have to bound it to your character, making it untradeable. And you can have multiple quivers if you want to bring a ton of different ammo types. They said on stream that it will not be dyeable, however if the community wants it and there's enough demand for it, they can make it so you can dye it in the future, but it won't be on launch. And that is pretty much it for the TzekHaar Front. Once again, that's coming out next Monday, October 25th, so right around the corner. Super excited about it. Let me know what you guys think about anything discussed in this video down in the comments below. Love to hear your thoughts. I'm gonna wrap up the video there. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed yet and you want to stay up to date on all things RuneScape related, then hit the subscribe button. Anyways, I appreciate you watching. I'm out. Aloha.